everyone, it's Lisa from budgetequestrian.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make a lunging attachment that you can use with either a bridle or a halter for lunging your horse. I just had some random things laying around, so I wanted to see if I could make one of these. So basically some hooks, scissors, some different attachments, and some 1-inch nylon webbing, and my sewing machine. So what I did first was I wanted to try the different types of hooks that I had. I had some of the snap hooks, and then I had some like lobster claw ones, and I just wanted to see how this would turn out using different types of hardware that I just happened to have. And I had this nylon webbing that I bought a long time ago. I don't even remember what I bought it for, but I was like, let's try to make something with this. So I decided I wanted to start with green first, and I just cut off some pieces of the nylon webbing and then just played around to see what would happen. This was my first attempt at making one of these lunging straps, so I actually only had black thread in my sewing machine. But I kind of like how it turned out because then you can see exactly the different stitches that I made on it. So once I had the nylon strapping how long I thought I wanted it to be, I needed to burn off the edges so that it wouldn't continue to fray. That's what I was using the lighter for. And then it was pretty simple. I just put the hook onto the webbing and then just sewed it on with my sewing machine. It was actually really easy to do this, and I wanted to make sure it was pretty sturdy, so I went over it several times on each of the straps, kind of made it look like a Z or a Zorro stitch, as I like to call it. And again, I just wanted to make sure that these were going to be pretty sturdy. And this is just kind of a close-up of me doing the little cross stitch on it and just going back and forth with the sewing machine to make sure that it's going to be really sturdy. And see, it looks like a Z. This is my Zorro stitch, I like to call it. And there they are, all completed. Now there's only one piece left to sew the attachment on, and that is the D-ring that I'm going to be sewing on to this last piece of strapping. And the D-ring part, that is where you will attach your lead rope to. So the lobster clasps on the side, those are what you can hook to either side of your horse's halter or to his bit. And then the D-ring part will hang down, and that's what you attach your lead rope or your lunge line to. And the reason I wanted to do this is because when I'm lunging my horses, if I put it on one side of their halter or on one side of their bridle, so through one of the bits, even if you loop it up over their head, you still have to lunge from one direction. But by making this lunging attachment, then I can have my horse go either direction. I don't have to pull him in every time, and I can keep him moving away from me when I'm lunging him. So when I'm connecting the D-ring, it's just like I did on the attachments for the hooks or the lobster hooks, whatever you want to call them. And I'm just going over it several times with the sewing machine, going back and forth, because again, I really want to make sure this is strong because I don't want my horses to be able to break it when I'm lunging them. So once I've got all of the hardware attached to each piece of the nylon webbing, now I need to connect the pieces of nylon webbing so that they become one piece. And like I told you in the beginning, this was my first attempt at making it. So the green one, it came off a little cattywampus, but it still works, and I just wanted to show you that it's really not that hard. You just have to use a little bit of your imagination, which we all have a lot of, and you can make something like this with, you know, random stuff that you probably already have lying around your house. I again am connecting the two pieces of webbing. This makes like a V, and this is going to go on either side of your horse's face, so that will be where you're going to connect those little two clasps on the sides. So I made it just like a V, and again, this one isn't perfect. It kind of was a little off, but it's not horrible for my first attempt at this. And I do like the black so you can see all of the stitching that I have done while I'm making this lunging attachment. Not the prettiest thing in the world, but it works. So that's the V section of the lunge attachment that's all done. The next part is to connect the D-ring portion. It will connect to the two pieces of the top part of the lunging attachment. And I think this is the part where I got a little wonky with my stitching. It was a little bit challenging to get that thick, heavy nylon webbing and layers of it through my sewing machine. So it did turn a little bit when I was stitching it. But so it looks like a letter Y when it's all done. So that's what it looks like, even though it's a little off kilter. And again, I'm just going over it and over it and over it because I don't want it to break when I'm using it on my horses. And not the prettiest thing in the world, especially with the black thread, but it'll work. It will serve its purpose and be a lunging attachment. So once I figured out how to do this, I was like, okay, so I'm going to do this again and I'm going to make a better one. So this time I took some of the purple webbing and cut strips of it. And it will work actually pretty well with the black thread. I didn't have purple thread, so I was just using what I had. Once I've cut the pieces of the webbing, then I'm going to use my lighter and just kind of burn all of the sides of the webbing. Since this was my better attempt, I was going to use the heavier hardware. These are heavier bolt snaps that I used, and I got these at Home Depot. I think they were $2.25 for 2 of them. And again, I'm just stitching over it, doing my fun little Zorro stitch. I think I should coin that term, the Zorro stitch, when you're making lunging attachments for your horses. And this one went a lot faster doing the purple one. It was probably because I had already practiced one time with the green one, but this one did go a lot faster making this lunging attachment. I don't think it's because I used heavier hardware. I think it was because it was my second attempt at making one of these. And then once I have all of the hardware attached, then it's time to connect the 2 bit pieces together. And this one worked out pretty good. I went a little bit slower with my stitching just to make sure I didn't have it be kind of awkward and not perfect, because I really do want this to be perfect. Once I have the two bit sides together, then it's time to attach the D-ring section of the nylon webbing. And it's just about done. Pretty proud how this one's turning out. It's much better. There you have it, a lunging attachment that isn't cattywampus. Woohoo! And these are what they look like when they turned out. See, the green one, not quite so perfect. My sewing skills were not very good, but it does still work. But again, this was my first attempt at making one. There's my fancy Zorro stitching. And then moving over to the purple one, it's a lot more uniform and it looks a lot better. So with some practice, you can make a really nice lunge attachment. I would say practice once or twice and then you'll have one like this. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and sometimes on Saturday. Again, thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you again real soon.